talk about what we learned and like what our project even was. And I think each person is supposed to take like 5 to 7 minutes. Is there somebody that would like to go first?
I can go. It's probably
Alrighty,
going to be a lot quicker than 5 to 7, but
that's
I'll do
fine.
it. Let's see if I can get this going here. I'm just trying to get the screen share going. I don't know if it's there.
I can see it. Looks like we lost Sharon again. There she is.
Okay. Did it stop working?
Yeah, I
For a
see your
second,
face
it
again.
Uh, okay. Looks like we got it. So, the accountability project. This was a hard one for me. I thought that I could just pick a couple of easy goals and have at it. Didn't work out so good. So, uh, I just copied out the what I want to be. Essentially, I seem to be in this spot in life where I'm surrounded by ladder climbers, and I can't stand them. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm a ladder climber at any time. I still want to get ahead in life, but I'm not stepping on other people to do it. And the other thing is I want to be trusted, but not to the point where I can't change my mind. So just because I say I'm going to show up, uh, plan on it unless something happens that I feel is a higher priority. So that's sort of the biggest thing, at least that I wanted to accomplish. Where So I had two sets of goals. One, I want to do a little exercising, and the tough one, weekly temple attendance. I didn't like that one. I didn't want to do that one, but it was the way it had to be. So from what we threw up there, I pretty much nailed all of it. Weeks 5 and 6, I dropped off on the temple attendance. And you can see I doubled up on weeks 7 and 12 to make up for that. I ran into a serious issue with my consequence. So the idea for my consequence was that my wife got to pick the movie for date night. In the end, she's like, no, I want to do Grey's Anatomy because she knows just how much I hate that show. But she also encouraged me not to accomplish my goals so that she could pick, the show for date night. So that was the big problem there. I didn't have her completely on my side at the start. So if there was one thing I could change, it'd be the consequence. But anyways, once we got that worked out, everything was back on track. So you see, I did follow through with the consequence for those 2 weeks, and still made up the missed sessions. So double duty. And an example of what I wanted to accomplish. This last Saturday was the Ward Christmas party. I was supposed to pick up the dishes from the rental place. I totally biffed it, totally forgot, wasn't on the calendar, not on my agenda one bit. I was pounding through homework. Finally, I got that part done and I raced off straight to work. And when I was at work, I got a text saying, hey, did you get those dishes for us? But no one was upset about it. Everyone just assumed I had more important things to do, and I think I did, and it worked out. So a perfect scenario where I said I would do something but didn't, and no one blamed me and assumed that I had better things to do. Differently, pick a different consequence. so it was hard. Every semester I make up my schedule of what I'm going to do when, and it's scheduled right out from like 6 a.m. till 1 a.m. the following day. And there just literally was not enough time to make a trip to the temple every week. It wasn't in the program. And so I had to change priorities, start cutting things out that I thought were also important, make the time for it one way or another. Neat thing about it was that as the weeks went by, I didn't have to make time for it anymore. The time was just there. I was getting through my work faster. Everything that was on my to-do list was magically done or was very easy for me to move every time, it was temple day. So to me, that was really neat, not knowing how I was going to be able to accomplish that goal and how it just became easier and easier as the semester went on. And that's my accountability project presentation.
Awesome. Good job.
Good job.
Thanks.
All right. Who wants to go next? I can go. And I think we can share from our side, so let's see.
Oh, can you?
I think so. Let's see here. Can you guys see mine?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. All right, so for who I wanted to become someone who is a dedicated journal writer, someone who listens to and applies the words of prophets, someone who is not afraid to share my beliefs, someone who is ready for a future family by trying new meals, and someone who is consistent on working on body strength. So I had daily goals, weekly goals, and monthly goals that I set up. And this first one, I'm just going to skip that one. It really didn't have anything to do with it. For journal writing, I wrote in my journal 83 out of the 84 days. And part of my journal writing, what I wanted to do was recognize how the Lord has helped me each and every day. And then I'd also write about my day in my journal. And journal writing is something that I tried to start over last summer and really kind of struggled with. I started out really well and then kind of let it fall away. And so being able to do it this semester and making it a priority has kind of made it into a habit, because now every night before I go to bed, I write in my journal just automatically because it became a habit. So I feel like this one was really successful, and it'll help me in the future because I'll just continue writing in my journal. The next goal was listening to a church talk every day, and I did that 83 out of the 84 days. I did do the consequence for the one day that I missed, and that was to listen to only church music the next day. And I saw how this goal helped me because I was called as a Sunday school teacher this year. And I was able to, while I was teaching, thoughts and quotes or stories would come to mind while I was teaching that I knew had come because I had prepared myself and listened to these talks. So it was very beneficial to have those as a backup. For my weekly goals, part of sharing the gospel, I decided to share on social media 3 times a week, uplifting thoughts or movies or quotes or whatever I found. And I did that all 14 weeks of the semester. And I really liked this because I was able to go back and find all the quotes that I had liked and shared for times when I needed. These are 2 examples of the quotes I shared. So one of them says, "If you want to give light to others, you have to glow yourself," and that's from Thomas S. Monson. And the other is, "Take courage, have faith, and believe in the promises of God." I just like having quotes, so I liked this goal. The next one was to try a new recipe every week because I am very picky with what I eat, and I don't really branch out much. So I decided to try going out of my comfort zone and trying new things. And these are some examples of the things I tried. These aren't my pictures though, these are just examples, but the cheesy rice and broccoli that I tried was not good at all. And there were a few recipes that my roommates and I would try and we didn't like them, but others were really good. So it was good to add the good recipes to my recipe book so I have stuff for the future. For physical activities, I decided to have 3 cardio workouts a week and then do 50 push-ups and 50 sit-ups each week, or 3 times a week. And for the cardio, I played on a flag football team and a basketball team. Those are what those pictures are. And some night, or even one night, I had 3 games. I had a basketball game at 7:15, another basketball game at 8:15, and a football game at 10:15. So that was kind of crazy, but being able to work up to that by doing 3 cardio workouts a week was helpful. And then the push-ups and sit-ups is where I feel like I could have improved the most. I did it every week, but I had a lot of weeks where I pushed it to the last 3 days of the week, so I'd have to do it like Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. And I should have planned that out better, so it was like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or every other day. And then my monthly goal was to go to the temple, and I did that all 3 months. And it was awesome because I've always lived next to a temple, but I've never really taken advantage of that. And this semester, I'd find myself, like when I was driving home from Idaho Falls or back to Rexburg, my sister and I would just like drive up and just look at the temple for a while, and it just brought really peaceful feelings. So I was grateful for that. And that's my presentation.
That was really good. You did a lot of different things, really stretched.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So Sharon or Michael, which one wants to go next?
I can if you want.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you do the screen share?
Up in the left, there should be like a bar that comes up. It's the green computer screen with like an arrow.
Okay. All right, can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so here's my accountability project. For who I wanted to become, one of the focuses I had was that I wanted to create more balance in my life. So my areas of balance were spirituality, hard work, service, lifelong learning, self-awareness, and physical health. And the characteristics I wanted to develop were integrity, loyalty, charity, kind-heartedness, faithfulness, and courage. And so I had some daily goals, reading the scriptures, and then also like a conference talk or a devotional. I had a goal to do some counseling and self-compassion work every day because I'm just at the end of going through a divorce, so a lot of stuff I got to get through. And I wanted to set a goal to give a compliment every day so I become more aware of asking other people how they're doing or making them feel good. And then I did just 20 minutes of either strength training or cardio 4 times a week, which is all my body can handle. And got my homework assignments done every day and checked my partner's stuff. My weekly goals were I wanted to do something creative. It's a really good stress reliever. And it's relaxing. And I went to the temple every week, and then I have been trying to eat clean and healthy 5 times a week. And then I go to a weekly group support meeting, and monthly is my visiting teaching. So I did miss some goals. In September, I missed a clean eating goal, and for a consequence, I took a meal to my neighbor. In October, I missed a meeting, and I didn't hold myself accountable for that. And I missed another clean eating goal, and so I cleaned 2 bathrooms for that. In December, I missed going to the temple 1 week, and I didn't do accountability for that. So the deal that I had set up was that if my accountability partners called me out on missing something, then I had to do a consequence. But then I felt guilty that they weren't calling me out on anything, so I made myself accountable a couple of times, but I probably should have done it more. But anyway. Accomplishments from eating clean and exercising, I lost 14 pounds. So I hope to continue that habit. I felt a lot more balanced in my life because normally I would just focus on school and work and church. And so incorporating, the self-compassion work, the creativity, just different things that really helped me to have just a better balance in my life. And it just, it helped me in my healing, improved my emotional health, and helped me to focus on looking forward and not backwards. My creative projects helped with stress reduction, and the ways that I became more of who I wanted to become were an increase in spirituality, more self-awareness, and better life balance. What I would do different is way less goals. My expectations are really high. I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I aim really high and then I get frustrated. But I would keep the same format in terms of trying to keep a balance in my life, but I would take one goal from each focus area to do for like a quarter of the year, and then, switch every quarter, switch my goals up, and keep it a lot more simple. And instead of consequences, I would do a reward system because that motivates me more. Like put $5 in a jar every week that I meet my goals, and then at the end of the quarter, I get to go shopping. I gave a good amount of effort. I'd say 95%. And what I learned about accountability is that I need to be accountable for myself. Other people, aren't really that vested in what I'm doing in terms of my goals, and so I'm the one that has to be accountable and responsible. And so accountability is for me to do, and that's it.
Good work.
Thanks.
I like your idea of rewarding yourself.
Yeah, I'm much more motivated by that.
All right, Michael, you ready?
I am ready. Absolutely. Let me toss in a screen share. All right. Here we go. Can you guys see that all right?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So my accountability presentation is pretty simple, and I feel a little bad because in comparison, I almost feel like I didn't stretch enough. But at the same time, I'll get to the point in a bit how I think my goals were appropriate for me in this season of my life, and I shouldn't compare or say that they weren't enough, because they were taxing this time, even as simple as they probably seem. The two areas when I really pondered, like, what lack I yet, that saying from Harold B. Lee, the scriptures about what can we do to bring our life in closer conformity with the Lord. I considered that there were really two overarching areas, and they are overarching because they encompass the temporal and spiritual together. Physical fitness and spiritual fitness. Pretty much everything falls into that category. So I really wanted to narrow it down to what I was doing and what I wasn't doing that needed some work. But especially physical fitness came to mind because I work from home. I also work overnight, and I am an online student. I don't honestly leave the home that often. I'm not agoraphobic or anything like that. It's just simply that I don't have any external reason to get up and walk to class or walk to the store or do any number of things. It's convenient for me to not have a physically fit and active lifestyle. And that was a big danger for me, especially because with some genetic history from my parents, my father especially, I'm predisposed to having a lot of adverse effects there. So I wanted to head that off. I felt like the Lord wanted me to be more physically fit. And in the other category, spiritual fitness, I really felt like I needed to step up my game and read the scriptures daily. It was a pretty hard thing for me to start doing that. Especially because I hadn't in a long time. It's not that I hadn't read the scriptures at all, but I hadn't put myself to a consistent rhythm of it. And that was my problem. So in physical fitness, I set a goal to work out at least 4 times a week, without preference on when, because my schedule, while I may work from home, is pretty diverse. So I don't really care so much in setting this goal, or at least I didn't care when I worked out or which days I picked, but any 4 days a week for at least an hour. That's how I was going to count it. And as far as spiritual fitness, I set a goal to work out my spirit daily. And I planned myself out so that I wouldn't exercise or work out physically on Sundays, because there were 6 other days of the week to work with that I could fit those 4 into. But scripture study would work very easily on all days. So for a while, one of the biggest downfalls in this tracking was that I kept a notes section in my tracking sheet, and I colored those sections in yellow. And I built all my equations that were in this tracking sheet to exempt me from compliance when I decided it was extenuating circumstance enough. And I built in options for me to say, well, this day was too hard, life got in the way, there were a number of things that kept me from being obedient. So I'm just going to put NA here, and the function will not count that against me. And I realized over time that I was cutting myself out of a lot of growth, because I was putting myself in a place to be judge and jury, to decide that the goals that I set previously needed to be refined. And it was almost ignoring the confirmation that I had gotten when I prayed about which goals I should set for myself. So there came a point where I changed all of those not applicable abilities to either a simple yes or no. And while that can't be the same for everybody, I totally understand that not everyone is as harsh with that. It was the right decision for me, because it distilled down, was I being obedient or was I not? Was I just going for a check mark, or was I really growing? And holding myself to the consequences and the accountabilities that I had set for myself was pretty important in that process as well. My tracking sheet zoomed in looks like this, but I can also bring it up right here over top. The tracking sheet was broken apart into different weeks specifically, and because I'm a very binary type person, anytime I put the word met in here, but not when it says not met, it would calculate compliance for how many days of the week I read scripture or how many days I exercised. All I had to do was get 4 mets in the exercise category for it to give me 100%. Could never exceed that, and everything else calculates normally. And I'll get to it in a second, but this was a good and a bad decision as well for tracking it by number. My average compliance became 84.23%. And as the binary person that I am, I get to say that it's better than average. It's better than I kind of expected. I was really disheartened for a while, though. Putting it in number form, it was hard for me because I felt like I had failed that badly in such simple tasks. I felt like it was beneath me. And I'm going to get to what I learned now, but it's more than a number. It's totally more than a number. So I learned how to learn. That sounds really cryptic, but I learned how to adapt myself to things that I wasn't used to as part of this project. It was a very unintentional benefit to this, and it was healthy for me. If any of you don't know, I took a computer science degree at one point, and I slept through those classes and aced them all, and it was easy for me. It was really easy for me. And it didn't help me grow at all. So when I changed to business management and started taking economics and accounting, it's the exact same experience that I had with this, where I was doing something that I wasn't immediately and automatically good at, and that freaked me out. But it's where my best growing happened. And as part of that, I learned that being perfect at something right away wasn't the purpose. I didn't have to get a 100% checked off in the box for me to be successful, because I learned a lot and I grew a lot from this. And the reason why I have a picture of Tron Legacy here is not just because it's one of my favorite movies in the world, but because there's a quote in it where one of the protagonists, Kevin Flynn, talks to his creation, who has gone off the rails trying to create the perfect world. And he said, that's the thing about perfection. It's unknowable, and yet it's right in front of us all the time. So as far as who I became a more spiritually aware person, and I became a more physically fit person. To expound on those things, I do read my scriptures more often than I did, and that helped keep me going. I also became a more physically fit person. I dropped a few pounds. I'd rather not say exactly how many, but let's just say it's relative, and that's a pretty good success for me. It's more than I've seen in a long time. I also got set up with a health coach at my work that would help me understand where to go from here. And I've developed good habits. I know exactly where my pitfalls are now. I know how to motivate and encourage myself when I set goals, how to set reminders for myself around the home that actually work, instead of a sticky note that I can just pretend I didn't see. And my wife encourages me when she is brought in the loop on these goals as well, so that communication is paramount. And in all these things, I've grown into a better person, like I felt like I would, but not at all like I thought I would from the beginning. The place I ended up is not exactly where I thought I'd be, but it's still a really good place to be. And that is my accountability project entirely.
Good work.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks for sharing. I wish that we could have been each other's partners. I think we had a lot of similar goals and could have done a lot to motivate each other.
For sure.
Well, I think that's all we had to do. David, will you email me that link and I'll post it?
Yep, no problem at all.
Do we have
Awesome.
to, individually, do we have to put anything up there, or just go look at other people's other groups?
I think
I
just
was-
go look at other groups.
Okay.
That's my understanding, but I'm not positive. So,
Awesome.
good work, guys. Thank you.
Guys, have a nice holiday. Enjoy your break.
Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Yeah, it was fun.
Bye.
Bye.